You talked about moments when we as humans have moments of clarity and moments of confusion. Since I started my sadhana and as I go through my spiritual path, I've had moments of very intense experience. Sometimes I feel that everything is very clear, but at the same time, I have moments of utter confusion where I'm not able to understand what's going on around me. In a way, the things I see, I'm not able to articulate it in a very logical way. What is happening to me and what do I do about it?
You're having a very human experience on this planet. The problem with a human being is human beings are given an intellect to foray and explore so many things which are not yet their domain. A fish just remains in its water space, a tiger in its forest, everybody remains within their terrain. It's only the human being who wants to explore and foray into everything that we can see or we cannot see, actually. We not only foray into things that we can see, we also foray and try to foray into things that we cannot see. We want to go into the space, we want to look at the microscopic stuff. We want to not just enjoy the outward, we want to know the inner dimension of who we are. So, these are adventures of the human mind. When you make these adventures, when you try any adventure, that means you do not know the result or the consequence of your action. That's what an adventure is. If you successfully finish an adventure, you will be known as an adventurer or you will be known as a hero in the world. If you are not successful in your adventure, you would be dismissed off as a fool who did not have the sense to stay away from what you should stay away from. So, the essence of our adventure or how adventure will be perceived simply depends on the success rate that you have. So naturally, when you foray into dimensions, either physically, psychologically, emotionally, whichever way, a certain amount of confoundedness is there. But this confoundedness is coming because you are constantly falling back on your intellect to give you a logical interpretation of everything. Confusion essentially comes because you already have conclusions about something. If you have no conclusion about anything, there will be no confusion either. The fundamental process of any spiritual path, particularly what I've been transmitting to all of you, or all spiritual paths, why? Is that you don't make conclusions. Because if you make conclusions in one space, when you move to another space, the same conclusion which gave you comfort and confidence will cause enormous amount of confusion. So the idea is to just perceive, to live, to experience, not to conclude. Because conclusions or accumulations, they are of no relevance to experience that which is alive and now. So, one needs to understand confusion is a product of conclusions. This is something that you have to train yourself with, that you do not make any conclusions about anything. How do I live without making conclusions? There is a difference between making a momentary judgment as to how to act in a particular moment and making a conclusion about it. This moment, when you are in a certain mode of activity, you may deal with somebody or something in a particular way according to your judgment of that moment. That moment's judgment need not carry with you as a conclusion or as an accumulated knowledge that you carry to the next moment or to the next day or wherever. Or in other words, you do not carry your past into the future. The moment you do this, confusion is a natural product of these type of conclusions that you're continuously drawing. So particularly on the spiritual path, if you're beginning to experience things, there should be no conclusions. No conclusions at all. If there are no conclusions, there will be no confusion,